Hello. Once again, as is tradition, waiting for myself to pop up. But I see a few people here already. Hi, good people. Good evening, good evening. Oh, wow. Okay. What a day it's been. Pardon me? Because then I know definitely that I'm on. And it's been 35 seconds, and so we wait.
What happens if it's a minute?
It's never gotten to a minute, I think. But hey, there's a first time for everything. I say I like first times. Bloodnose says, Hebrew lore from days of yore, yes please. And here I am. I'm live. 'Tis the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Now, full disclosure, I'm after a day of fasting. And I might not be on for a long time, but we'll see. As we know, the Torah is something enlivening and joyful. And we'll see where it goes. But yes, I'd also love Hebrew lore from days of yore. In some things, it seems like we simply don't learn from history. I have a feeling the first and the second temple would have made it, respectively, if only we would have been good to each other, fundamentally. Yes, Torah, commandments, being a good person. Sneezer, hello Sneezer. Who is glad to hear you're live? Says my paw. Who is glad to hear you're live? So, is that a continuation of... Right, it's not a question though, there's an ellipsis. So I think it's his username, and then who is glad to see. So, he's making a sentence out of the username. Sneezer, good to see you. And who else? We have a few people here. That was supposed to be always glad to hear you're live. Thank you, Abba. I appreciate it.
Who's Abba?
My Abba? Cometh the man. Shalom, I would like to apply for a loan. I can't forget it from The Office. All right, speaking of full disclosure, unfortunately, I have not seen The Office, not the UK version nor the US version. And it's on my list, and I think I watched an episode or two. I knew I should obviously give it more than an episode or two. That's granted. It's just, it didn't pull me enough at the time, but so many people love it. So many people quote it. I'm going to have to see that. I'm seriously going to have to see that. And maybe even, Jesse Links, hello. Hi. And maybe even Space Force, because I think, what's his face? Carell, Steve? Well, he's there too. Cometh the man. Yeah, it's boring at the beginning. But look, I'm willing usually to let things grow. Tejas is here. Taylor is here. Taylor asks, do you prefer speaking Hebrew or do you prefer speaking English, or is it too difficult to favor one over the other? It's too difficult to favor one over the other, but Hebrew is definitely... Hebrew has a one up there, I think. What is it? Yes, but that's because of you guys, right? I'm raising my children bilingual, which means I speak a lot of English at home, and I speak English almost exclusively in the office. So it is too difficult to favor, but as far as speech, I love learning new words in both languages. I love reading and writing in both languages. That's... Yo, says BMXers. And Satya Aryan. Hello, good to see you. I think you've been here before. Or at least the Aryan. Maybe a different Aryan was here. YHWH, which I'm assuming is supposed to mean Yod He Vav He, is God. Yes, that's one name. A root name of what we call God. Yes. Taylor26 asks, I don't know any Hebrew. So as an English speaker, would it be okay to visit Israel or no? Of course it would be okay. There's English everywhere. Where are you from? I'm in Jerusalem, Satya. Where are you from? BMXer says, feeling a bit sluggish tonight. Been up very early this morning. All right, hopefully you got things done. Oh, Tejas is also here. Tejas said, Jesus forgived a man. Jews said blasphemy. Only God can forgive sins. Jesus is God. He wants you to turn to him. He loves you. He was from the tribe of Judah, from David. He is mighty Messiah. He is salvation, says Tejas. Okay, congrats. You think Jesus is God, and I don't. That's it. I go one God further. Come on. Okay. Taylor says, major attack tonight, but I've gotten to the point of not thinking about it, not keeping up with the updates as closely before since I got rid of Twitter. Well, I don't know what to say about Twitter. I've never been an active user and poster. I use it mainly for the DMs, as I've said. So I'm not part of any ongoing tweets, conversations, retweets, and whatnot. But I hear it's rough on Twitter. And, as opposed to other platforms, and I have no idea when a major attack, if that, will happen. I have no idea. It seems that Iran is, the Islamic Republic is not going for it up until now. And either they are biding their time and being patient and will strike whenever they want with no pressure from the world, or they need to figure out a way to climb down from that tree that they went up. And many other possibilities, but those two come to me. Jesse says, to be fair, no one alive today, no one knows how to pronounce that name because when Torah was written, there was no vowels. Well, the vowels, let's put it this way, the vowels, the nikud, I believe it was there, and if not present in the ancient scrolls or tablets, it would be, it would have a spiritual root. Right? There are four facets. There's ta'amim nikudot tagin otiyot, which is the melody, the punctuation, right? The vowels, and the crowns of the letters and the letters. Four corresponding to Yod He Vav He, corresponding to that name, that root name of creation. And no one alive today knows how to pronounce it. There's a difference of opinion on what it is and how to pronounce it. So it could be that all of the opinions are wrong and no one, absolutely no one knows. I don't believe that. I think that there are masters who still carry it on to their apprentices. Maybe if it's, well, that's simply what I think. I might be completely wrong. Point is, yes, no one alive today knows how to do it. It's been lost for all intents and purposes, hidden or lost. Those are not the same thing. And when the Torah was written, there was no vowels. I don't know about that. I don't remember precisely offhand when the nikud and the te'amim came into play. The idea is that you have 2 on 2. You have te'amim nikudot tagin otiyot, and what the Torah scroll has, the modern day Torah scroll and ancient Torah scrolls, modern one, let's say modern ones, they have the letters and the crowns of the letters. And the human being going up to read the Torah, he is the one who imbues it with the nikud, the vowels, and the te'amim, the melody, the trup. So, what I'm saying is that I don't remember historically and academically. I'm sure I've read up on it at some point, but not delved deeply, but read up on it a bit. So I don't remember offhand if and when the Torah was written in vowels. For instance, the Keter Aram Tzova, which is 900 years old, maybe 1,000, I'm not sure, maybe less. It's ancient, it's rather ancient, and it has a lot, if not all, I think it's all of the Bible, or maybe, I think it's all of the Bible, with Ta'amim Nikudot Tagin Otiyot, with the, well, I don't know if it has the crowns, but there's the letters and the punctuation, the nikud, the vowels, and the melody. Now, that's not when Torah was given, right? Torah was given 3,500 years ago, 3,600, that is what's thought, right? The second Iron Age, if I'm not mistaken, it's called. And I don't know what was written on the original scrolls. I don't know what was written on the original tablet. I know what has been passed down throughout the generations and preserved. Things were changed. Things were tweaked. Not denying that. But I can't speak for the vowels. Cometh the man. I want to ask a sort of serious question. I hope you can help. I don't know if I'll have answers, but go for it. I love, the give and take of a dialogue. Tejas says, but what do you want to say about he forgave sins? What are your views on this? I believe that if we're taking forgiveness as a form of atonement, right? A human being atones, and then, right, there's remorse, there's tshuva, right? There's a way to repent, to atone, to return once something has been done. Before the temple, after the temple. After the temple, it's more organized, codified, ritual worship. So if we're taking the temple as an example, if somebody, in order for a sin to be forgiven, sacrifice needs to be made. It can be animal, it can be vegetable, depending on the nature of the what's the word? I'm thinking of a unique word, but screw that. The sin. So if the priest and the person who is offering the sacrifice, if they are channeling each in their way that energy of forgiveness and atonement, a transformation of sorts will take place in the heart and soul and sinew of that individual, ideally. If you're bringing a sacrifice, whatever it is, it's something of value, and you come to Jerusalem and you stand before the priests, the Levitical choir is singing, and you are making an offering. You are bringing something to the table. It folds in it a lot of different things on an individual level, on a public level. And so when the Israelite, let's say, and the priest do their thing, forgiveness, a revelation of forgiveness can take place, also individual and collective. And so my view on that is that we need to act our part, play our part righteously, and sins will be forgiven by and large as a direct result of that. And we see that from day to day, Sabbath to Sabbath, moon to moon, and then the holiday of atonement once a year. These are times of forgiveness. These are times of atonement. So what do I think of it? I think that he forgave sins. He could have. Were the sins against him or against the Most High God? So that's my question right here. Do answer me, Tejas. Cometh the man says, I believe Islam is the only religion that tells people to worship God in the pure concept of godness, invoking Allah in prayer, which literally means God, without using human names like Jesus and Buddha. Excuse me? No, they don't consider him God. He's the last and final prophet. He is the last and final word of God. What do you mean? Yeah, okay. So, I know that maybe some people turned Buddha, right, Prince Gautama, Siddhartha, into a deity. He himself, I don't think, ever claimed divinity of any kind, did he? As for Jesus, I don't recall from my one reading if he himself claimed to be divine. I don't recall right now. Alpha and Omega, yeah, I suppose he did. So let's see. Islam is the only religion that tells people to worship God in the pure concept of godness. Well, in the Hebrew faith, we do invoke, as you said, different names and revelations of God, but it's all heading towards that one place, that one unknowable, unfathomable, untouchable, inconceivable Hebrew God. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. But are Jews the same as Muslims? I would say yes. If you're talking about the pure concept of godliness, there's no such thing because we can't know God, right? Lo yir'ani ha'adam v'chai. You can't perceive God, conceptualize God as that purity that you speak of. Merely using the words pure, concept, and godness, these are already things which constrain and which make things narrow. And while they have a lot of utility in conveying a point and a message, it's still not it. It's the place where the words come from. It's the place where there is no constraint. It's the place that is the widest, the longest, as it were. Not compared to anything, but simply in and of itself. Something infinite that I, as a finite being, cannot perceive right now. And so when we use godly names, divine names, we don't use human names. We pray, may it be for the merit of these righteous people, the merit of our ancestors, they did good things, so may we cash in on their good deeds. and in their benefit, let's say, for our benefit, through their deeds, let's atone and forgive and carry on. We say these things when turning to God in prayer, but we never call God by any other name than a name that's one of the divine names, as far as I know. You could argue over the nature of these names, but they basically, when invoking them, they are associated with a certain divine attribution. Usually one of the 10 of the Tree of Life, one of the 10 emanations of the Tree of Life. I know they are pure monotheists, he says, cometh, the man says, but their view of God is what I don't know. Can you help me fill in? Well, I suppose I just did that right now with my little spiel here, but if something there is unclear or even wanting to elaborate on anything, do say. I'll hopefully get to that point in the chat. BMXer says, oh, Iran ain't doing a thing. Well, time will tell. BMXer says, before today, I haven't ridden BMX in a week. Any specific reason? Were you injured? And before that, I haven't ridden for almost 9 years before I started again. No, dude, no, come on, I'm here now, man. It's not happening. It's not happening. Save it. Jesse Links says, I agree with you. Agreeing with, well, I'm not sure. Oh, wait. Oh, the name and the vowels. I hear you. Taylor says, who do you think should be the American president next year, Kamala or Trump? I don't know much about Harris, the Democrat nominee. Trump is a Republican nominee. Okay.
I don't know Biden.
Well, he stepped down. Okay, so I have no idea because I barely follow this country and nation states politics. So I don't follow Trump or Kamala. I know that, relatively speaking, foreign policy Israel related on my end here in Jerusalem. I saw Trump move the embassy here, and while it may be a symbolic move, it's one that many presidents, from what I have gathered, had said that they would do in the past, and he's the only one who did it. That says something. I don't know, good, bad, whatever. So I don't know their politics. I don't know their platform. I don't know their policies on anything. So that's what I don't think, because I don't know. I will say this, just again, from the outside, it seems that it's not a question of Republican or Democrat. It's a question of where America is, because there were times when Republicans and Democrats understood that there's more that they agree on than disagree. They had more common ground than now, where it's, from what I've gathered, quite a shitstorm. And people are simply severing ties, connections, going no contact with family over their political ideology. Is it because it's become more than that? Is it because it's just the system gone off the rails? I don't know. By the way, says BMXers, saw a world record the other day of a skateboarder who oiled over 19 skateboards. He ollied over 19 skateboards with the help of a ramp, of course. Well, over 19? Some people, they got some skill. Sneezer said to Jesse, because it's not supposed to be pronounced, sum the digits in a multiplication table, there you will find Yod Hey Vav Hey. Bloodnose asks, does the Ark of the Covenant still exist, and where might it be? Every few months, this comes up in the chat, and I believe that it does still exist. I believe it might be in one of several locations, right? People claim it's in Africa, Ethiopia. People claim it's in the Vatican. People claim it's in Egypt. People claim it's underground Jerusalem. And some people claim it fell off the face of the earth. And some people say that it's there, but no viable hypothesis has been put forth. I know that in the Second Temple there was no ark. There was the foundation stone. And where might it be? I don't know. I really don't know. Cometh the man says, I know ta'amim in Arabic means generalization. Tamim, well, it's ta'amim. So if you're talking about ta'amim, that's what it is with an ayn, ta'amim. But tamim, okay. I know that tamam means good, right? Okay. Taylor 26 says, are there any books that elaborate more on Nahor, the grandfather of Abraham? Well, I would always go to the Midrash Rabbah, Midrash Tanchuma, Yalkut Shimoni. A lot of times when you have an external teaching, it elaborates in a sense where there's something to be learned. It doesn't necessarily relate to the accurate historical fact, if you will, or what the sages and those who compiled those books saw as accurate. Then, so in that case, I don't know. I know that you can always find more in the Ari. In the Ari, I mean, the Kitvei Ari, the writings of the Ari, right, written by Rabbi Chaim Vital, his Muvhak, his star pupil, his star apprentice. There's so much there, and more on every character in the Bible, I would think, and obviously many other books that I'm not aware of. But, yes. Read the chat to infinity and beyond, says BMXers. You know what? There is the chat from yesterday. No, from not yesterday. Yesterday was the fast day at 9. From Sunday. Let's see. Let's go there for a bit. You asked. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. Oh, Ariel said. Wait. I wasn't there. Let's see if I can go back to where I was. No, bear with me a moment here. I'm looking at Sunday's. Wow, there was a lot here. Where did I stop? You know what? I'm not going to go from where I stopped. No, I'll do. You'll bear with me, won't you? Another few seconds. And I will find where we were on Sunday, and I'll go from there. Okay, here. So Nezer says, as for if it is dark light or light dark, and hot cold or cold hot, I am entirely unsure, right? Talking about a duality of this world, post the fall, post the expulsion, a knowledge of good and evil that reigns in the world. Hater Ramos said, there's at least 120 million Hebrew descendants in Brazil. Does it make here a holy land? Well, I think that if there are 120 million Hebrew descendants, not necessarily of the state, of the country, of the nation of Israel, of Judah, the kingdom of Judah, right? The Yehudim, as they're known. If they are Hebrew descendants from, let's say, the other tribes, does it make here a holy land? Well, first of all, traditionally, it does not. But holy is what you make of it. Holy means set apart, sacred, consecrated. Meaning that anything and everything, by and large, can be sort of tilted in the way of holiness, can be pulled with our virtue and our good deeds to the direction of holiness because of this idea of duality. It means that more often than not, nine times out of 10, let's say, there is something that you can take, an attribute, let's say, that would be considered wrong, bad, let's say pride. You need to have 1/60th, they say, of pride. Now, they say that of a Talmud Chacham, of somebody who is versed in the Torah and a knowledgeable, a scholar, but forget all that right now. I'm using it as an example of a human being. Just, stand up straight with your shoulders back is Peterson's first rule. And it's kind of something like that, where on a very fundamental level, it's good to have a 1/60th amount of pride. So you'll know when to stand up for yourself. So you stand up for yourself when it's called for. That's the kind of pride you should have. That's a negative attribute that does have a positive side to it. Pride goes before a fall. But sometimes when you don't stand up for yourself, right, sometimes you're not meant to fall, and you're meant to stand up for yourself. So you got to do that. And that's 1/60th of pride. That is something where, even though pride is a bad thing, basically, it has its good sides. And everything can be holy, and everything can be sacred, and everything can be consecrated and set apart. To what end is the question? Brazil has a wonderful line on its flag, Ordem e Progresso, right? Order and progress. That's something really great to put on your flag. Progress could also mean a bit of disorder, right? And order could mean not simply progressing for the sake of progressing, but keeping things in order. It's a duality. Not necessarily a duality like yin-yang, light-dark, right? Order and progress, but I see it that way in my little rant here. So the point is that it can be holy to those who consider it holy. Much like the state of Israel, the land of Israel is holy to those who consider it holy, sacred, set apart, consecrated. And within that Jerusalem, within that the Temple Mount, within that and so on and so on. There are, 10 inner holies, where the Holy of Holies in the temple is the locus of that whole concentric circle. Is that what it's called, a concentric circle? Right, like a bullseye? Okay. The first synagogue, said Hator. The first synagogue of Americas were founded in Brazilian Northeast. Did not know that. That's always great to know. I like that. Recife City, capital of Pernambuco State of northeastern Brazil. That is great. I love that. I hope I remember that. I think that's great. That there's such a thing as the first synagogue in a Brazilian city. I mean, the first American synagogue. I don't think I've ever known it. I've never wondered where and when and what and how was the first American in the Americas synagogue. That's very cool. Sneezer said, Revelation doesn't specifically mention flying, but descending from the clouds, Jerusalem temple. Are we still talking about the flying temple from Sunday? And this is Sunday. I think we were talking about the idea of a flying temple and of Ezekiel's first prophecy in chapter 1, the Merkava, the chariot, and what an engineer could do with that. I don't remember precisely where we were, but Ariel said, Sneezer, I recognize that other cultures probably share deity names with the ancient Israelite texts, but I do not think that Baal is one of them. There is Pe, or whatever. Pe? I'm not sure which Pe is, but okay. Maybe I'll explain later. Oh, there's Pe, like Pe, the letter Pe? Okay. Netzarim Nazarite said, the first time someone was called rabbi in Jewish literature was when someone called Yeshua rabbi in the Brit Chadashah. I'm sure that's not the first time the word was spoken, but it's the first time it appears. Yes, when people, let's say, were referring to prophets, at least sometimes it would be Avi, my father. I'm trying to remember if the word Rabbi, I don't think I recall it offhand being in the Bible. And it's interesting that you consider the New Testament Jewish literature. But I suppose that a Messianic would, right? Because if you're a Messianic Jew, it's not the Christian Bible, it's simply a continuation of Jewish literature canonized after the Bible. Okay. Is it live or recorded? It was live, and now I'm reading the chat because I didn't get to hit the like button, said Robert. You don't have to, because he said it on Sunday, but I leave it up to you. On that note, let's hop right back to today's chat. All right. So the skateboarders, Ta'amim, beyond the chat. Okay. Jesse Link said to Sneezer, correct. He says, that's why they took the vowels from another word and put them into Yod He Vav He. No, I think that's not why the vowels are there. The vowels are there because they specify a certain connection between the letter, which is a certain divine revelation, and the nikud, or the te'amim, which are different divine revelations. And the letter, and in larger context, the word, and in a larger context, the sentence, the phrase, the paragraph. It's all the relationships between the different names of God. And the Zohar says that the Torah is the entirety of the Torah is different names of God. And I think that, for instance, the vowels with the proper classic Yod He Vav He, right, is a Shva Cholam Kamatz. But when it's read Elohim, then there are the Te'amim of Elohim, which is a Chataf Segol, and a Cholam, and a Chirik. Wait, is it a Chataf Segol or is it? Yes. No. It might be a Tzere. Is it a Tzere? I know El is with a Tzere. Is Elohim? I think it's with a Segol. At any rate, different vowels change in different letters change, and different formations of letters and numbers and vowels and melody change. because it all signifies different divine revelation, right? Tanta, te'amim nekudot tagin otiyot, yod hei vav hei. So this is why some names can be uttered and others can only be thought. And this is why some are read one way but uttered another way, unlike how they are read. And so on and so forth. What's up, says Splash Fuzz. Hi, Splash Fuzz. You're becoming quite the regular. I do appreciate the vote of confidence. I hope you're getting as much fun as I am out of these little live streams. Robert says, if temple worship comes back, what happened to Judaism today, brother? What will happen, as far as I can tell, is that if we have temple worship again, it means we have a temple. And if we have a temple, it means we got our act together. And if we got our act together, it means we also learned to live in peace and love and harmony with each other. Different tribes, different paths, different ways, but we managed to really connect to who we are as individuals and a nation and put our best foot forward and usher in that age. Judaism will be a lot more ritual-centric. I still argue that if a temple does come, it will be a vegan temple, an Edenic temple to prepare us for the world to come, for the coming world, however you want to look at it. So what would happen today? I think temple worship returns, it would be a welcome thing and a good thing, a means to an end, but not the end in and of itself. There's always something more. And I think that it would be amazing, and even though I'm no biggie on the guitar and my vocals aren't what they used to be, I would want to audition for the Levitical choir when it's my turn to serve. Incidentally, even Israelites, meaning of the other tribes, who were not of the tribe of Levi, they used to stand next to the steps of the Levitical choir, and they would also be able to sing along with them, even though they were not Levites. Learn that from the Mishnah. Okay, let's continue. Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Right, which I, in a Hebrew way, can say, or in my own way, can say, okay, it's if that happened, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's Jesus not saying, I am God. It's saying, I have manifested that image of God, that Edenic image of God, to the utmost extent. I am an example of just how much divinity a man can embody. But it doesn't mean that you are God incarnate. There's still a major difference. It's a reflection. It's not the thing itself. Just like right now, I'm looking over here, I see myself on the camera. I'm looking over there, I see myself on the monitor. But it's not me.
It's a reflection.
It's a reflection, right? It's a video capture. It's a lens capturing me flawlessly, right? If you have high enough resolution, you could see all the different imperfections on my face. And maybe the beard ruff in my beard, but it's still not me. Shalom Pinky, says Robert. Hey Pink, I think he likes you. Splash Fuzz said, I don't think Jesus ever claimed divinity or even wanted his own religion. Again, just from reading the New Testament, I didn't get that from the gospel either. It's like, pick up your cross and follow me, he said. But I don't know if he said worship me. And if it was worship, it was in the sense of imitate me, do as I do, I'm an example. I'm a living example of what it means to be of a divine nature, like that image of God. That I can see how that in me. Now, again, Sunezer says that I'm blind, as to many other Christians and Messianics, followers of Yeshua, Jesus. And I am, to many things, maybe this too. But I don't also, if Jesus, I believe that he lived and died a Hebrew man, which means that he did not want to start his own religion, he had one. He did not want to claim divinity, he already knew God on an intimate and personal level. And he knew that he was not him. Well, he wanted his disciples to teach about him. Essentially, same thing. Sneezer said to Splash. Oh, sorry about that. We got something on my tongue. Really? Well, let's read that again. To Splash. You said, he wanted his disciples to teach about him. Essentially, same thing. Maybe, in essence, it is the same thing. Even if we're not talking about the same being, so to speak, to give it a crude name. Even if we aren't talking about creator and creation, we are merely talking about how, come on, Stubborn. Come on. Blah. Even if we're just talking about how, let's say, Jesus wanted his disciples to perceive him and so to teach about him, in that sense, he laid down that path for his disciples, his students. Essentially same thing, because you want to follow God, and he was teaching disciples, he wanted disciples to teach about him. Essentially same thing. Okay, so that kind of ties into what I was saying, where it's not claiming divinity. I see a difference, you may not, to each his own. I see a big difference there. BMXer said, by the way, in the latest DBZ movie, DBZ? I am so ignorant of so many things, someone fill me in. In the latest DBZ movie, it shows Dragon Shenron give Piccolo, Dragon Ball Z, some extra power. And before he taps into it, he saw the symbol of the Tree of Life similar to yours. The Tree of Life is found in many pagan religions. Well, I know that we have the tree. Others have, a flower? And the Tree of Life is one of many embedded in that flower. Is it the flower? Now I need to look that up. Yes, Flower of Life. Flower of Life. That's the one. Okay. Ooh, I'm sorry, I saw this and I have to address it. ZQ, hi ZQ. ZQ said, "Free Palestine, colonist, go back to your country. You will face what you deserve." Punk. I love the punk. Thank you for calling me a punk. I've always wanted a cool nickname. Yes, free Palestine from those bastards Hamas. Free them from terrorism. You cannot be a colonist or a colonizer or a colonial in your own homeland. So that kind of goes away. Go back to your country. Born and raised here, my man. This is my country. You will face what you deserve. I agree on that. I will face what I deserve. And hopefully I will act in such a way that will deserve things that don't suck. All right. Gacked UI21 says hello. Hello, Gacked. Oh, hey, easy now. Easy. Ray says, have you ever tried DMT, dimethyltryptamine? I have not. I would like to someday. But let's go back to where I was. I've tried other things. So let's see. Where were we? Free Palestine. Tejas says, my brother and I. Oh, whoops. Someone did something and it just jumped. Hang on. I'll see where we are. Blah, blah, blah. Well, a lot of chat. Okay. Hey, your brother's trying to sleep? Your brother's trying to sleep. Do I need to separate you two? Don't do it. Hey, you each sit on one square. Do it now, please. Don't cross that border. Thank you. Okay. Where was I? Right. Tejas says, my brother, I will tell you where he claims divinity. Who saw me, saw Father. Again, an image of God, not God as far as I'm concerned. Before Abraham, I'm God. I'm Alpha and Omega, right? So I mentioned the Alpha and Omega. And so because I thought, that's kind of claiming divinity, right? Ani Rishon ve'ani Acharon. That's what God said through the prophets. So it doesn't claim it outright, but maybe it does claim it outright with the Alpha and Omega. Maybe it does claim it with the Alpha and Omega. That's something to think about. BMXer says, do you know what it means if somebody has a tattoo of the number 88? No, not offhand. No. So do tell me. Splash Fuzz says to Sneezer, yeah, I know he wanted to spread his teaching, just he never thought he claimed godhood or religious creation. I will personally kick you out, colonists, said ZQ. All right. Have at it. I'd like to live in peace, but if you come to kick me out, I will have something to say about it.
I will kick you out.
He said he will personally kick me out. Oh, but he said colonists in the plural, so maybe he's not talking about me. Okay, Splash Fuzz said to Sneezer, by the way, I'm not against Christ or Christianity. Trump, Splash Fuzz says. Sneezer said to Splash, depends how you interpret. He was telling people we are all children of God. So far, so good. Gerhard Shelby, hello Gerhard, says, love you, bro. Thank you. Much love back. Go back to EU, you colonist, said ZQ. Well, I did live in the Netherlands for 3 years. I don't want to go back there. No, I think I'd rather stay where I was born and raised, here in Zion. Okay. HN, says BMXers, yes, the reason has to do with the regular bicycle problems. Bicycle problems? So what, muscles, tendons, tension in the joints? You are the feet. You are a robber. Okay, so call me Robin Hood, then. ZQ. Sneezer says, I agree with that. Yep. So you agree? Good. Again, to find common ground. Sneezer says, actually, no, he called Jews children of Moses the accuser. Moses the accuser. The accuser? Accused what of what? Taylor says, are those masks on the wall in your background? Tell us about those. So, my wife is a lady of the theater, and it's what she does for a living. And those are from a few from Venice, a few from other parts in Italy. And they are, well, part of the theatrics of this house. Though we don't use them, they're for decoration. We have used 1 or 2 of them in the past. So they have been of use. That's the 411 on the masks. Certain Jews, at least. What do you mean? Certain Jews were children of Moses the accuser. Okay? ZQ continues and says, you don't know because you are nothing from nothing. ZQ, I agree. I don't know. I am nothing from nothing. Yes, definitely that. Okay. Zed, nothing has never and can never exist, said Sneezer. Ray253 says, you're no different, brother. Love you, bro, says Gerard again. Thank you, I appreciate that again. Sneezer quotes and says, if you knew the Father, you would do his work, but you do the work of your Father. All right. So let's read that again. If you knew the Father, you would do his work, but you do the work of your Father.
That doesn't make sense.
No, to do the work of the Father and to do the Father's work. I don't know if there's... could you dumb it down for me a little bit? All of you are fake. Well, I can't speak for the rest of us, but I am definitely fake. Why, right now, this is all a persona. Sneezer said to Zed, LOL, what does that say about you? Wait for death. I do. I'm waiting. Hang on. I'll actively wait for 5 seconds. Watch. All right. That was exhilarating. Whew. Okay. Zed, keep giving me these instructions because I'm loving it. Zed, you are what you see, thus fake. Love you, bro, says Gerard again. I'm gonna keep reading it every time because to spread some love and positivity, that's, as far as I'm concerned, what part of this stream is all about. Zed, Sneezer says to Zed, I cannot wait. I have died more times than I can count. Yeah. But wait, if we're fake, then how can we die? Answer that, dude. Yeah. Travis, I knew this guy was Jew before I looked at his name. Hey, Travis. Good to see you. Paula says, Robert and I are in marriage counseling. Good for you. And we did a temperament study. Do you know your temperament, Jonathan? It's so interesting to learn about yourself. My temperament is sometimes I have a short fuse, but usually I'm chill. Love you, Jewish bro. Thanks again, Gerhard. I appreciate that. I love you too. Let's spread some good vibes and love. I don't know you. You could be a bot. Just to send out some love to all the people in the chat. Those watching now, those watching later. Some good vibes. God, do we need them. Splash Fuzz says to Sneezer, feels like that for me too. Died so many times, been through tons of crap, unless you mean literally.
No.
Splash Fuzz asks Travis, what gave it away? Haha. Sneezer says, I do mean literally, though of course it applies figuratively too. So have you been, I mean, did you literally die? Did your heart stop? Did your brain waves fail? Did you, if you don't mind, how do you find that to be literally the case? And how many times would you say? Paula says, Paula says, the four temperaments are sanguine, melancholic, choleric, and phlegmatic. So, no, I don't know them as such. I don't know. Is sanguine more easygoing? Because I think I'm that more or less. More than less, if I could say that about myself. I'm melancholic and Robert is choleric. Well, or no, it's not colic, it's choleric, yes. So do you traditionally, according to this four temperaments milieu, right, according to this thing, or paradigm, whatever you'd call it, are you compatible? Is there such a thing as incompatibility? Splash Fuzz, love you Israelis, says Gerard. Well, I can't speak for all of us Israelis, but again, much love, much support. To spread good energies in the world, if only for a few seconds.
No.
God made you for a reason, said Sneezer, not above any other, who were also made for vital reason. I concur with that. Yep. We each have our own mission, our own task. Sneezer says, so be proud in yourself, but remember others are no less deserving. Yes. Until somebody causes you to not treat them respectfully, you should do your utmost to treat each other the way you would want to be treated, right? The golden rule, as it were. BMXer says, by the way, what do you look like in the morning? I look Albert Einstein with my dread fro and Jew fro because I have curly hair, hence Jew fro. This morning, I guess I'm pretty much the same with my hair, only it's not in a ponytail. Speaking of which, speaking of the hair, let's get it out. Let's let it breathe a bit. I think it's been in a ponytail most of the day. Okay, good. Here we go. All right. So let's see. I suppose this is what I look like in the morning, more or less. Sneezer says, and call none but God good. Call none but God good. Call none but God good. Be proud and call none but God good. No, I don't think it's false to call other people good. It may not be the ultimate good, the root of good, but people can be good in relation to themselves, their community, those around them. There are good deeds, right? Part of what follows us after we die, right? Torah, commandments, and good deeds. But I understand what you're saying in like an absolute form. Do you know about Bangladesh? Guru Tamang asks. Hello, Guru. Good to see you. I know that you're going through some horrible times right now, very difficult times, if I'm not mistaken. And do I know about Bangladesh? Not much. But I know that you guys are also going through a period of great unrest, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, hang on. Yes, so tell me more. Wait, Guru, tell me more about how you perceive what's going on in Bangladesh now. What do you want me to know about it? Because even if I read a line or two in the news, what do you have to say about what's going on in Bangladesh now? And could you clarify? Because I know there's, let's say, well, not good things going on there. I don't know the extent of it. Paula, BMXer says, Paula, I watched The Sniffing Account. It's Accountant, The Sniffing Accountant. It was super funny. Who walks around sniffing? Yeah. If only he would have mailed that letter. Newman! Guru says, Sneezer says to Guru, actually my best friend is a Bangladeshi immigrant, though he knows little about it. BMXer says he went to South America. South America? Yeah, the accountant. South America! Sneezer says, Rabbi is in the New Testament. I forget who calls Jesus Rabbi. Mary, not his mother, in the New Testament. Okay, cool. Aiden says, Nick A, 30 years into the future.
Huh?
What is life?
Nick A30.
Nick A? Are you Canadian, Aiden? I don't know what Nick A is referring to. 30 years into the future. I guess it's 30 years into the future? Yeah, I guess. Nick A? What Nick? Did I mention a Nick? What Nick? Saint Nick? Am I Santa Claus? Okay. BMXer says South America has the best cocaine, just like South Africa has the best weed. Well, is it engineered by the state? Because the Netherlands have some decent things there. Sneezer says the vowels were added in. The vowels were added in, suggested only to confuse Jews. Okay, so let's grant that. Let's say that Sneezer, you just hit me up on Facebook. Sneezer, or maybe it's just reminding me of the one that I didn't get to. Incidentally, Hebrew Nazarite across the board. Shush. I'm there for the DMs on Twitter and X and YouTube and where else? And Facebook. No, wait, Twitter and X are the same thing. Instagram, TikTok. I said, never mind. The ones I mentioned anyway. Okay, the vowels were added in to confuse Jews. I don't understand that because it's not confusing at all. While there are some places where there's kri and chtiv, what is read and what is written, and where there are some disputes over a ta'am, a certain melody is here or there, if a certain word or verse is continued a little bit, the confusion is not there at all. The Masorah, the tradition, the Ba'alei Masorah, the Masoret, the tradition, the Orthodox tradition, is ancient, and it has not confused anybody as far as I know. So please, maybe I'm not getting it. Explain to me, please, what you mean when you say confuse Jews. Also, this physical, material revelation of the Hebrew language in the texts, right, with ta'amim, nekudot, taginot, tiyot, in the text and on our lips, it has a spiritual root, and that spiritual root is something which, let's say, has not been confused, corrupted, or tweaked. It's something of a more pure form, if you will. And no matter how, through what means, let's say, of the texts, we reach that root, that's what the Torah is guiding us towards. So I don't know if it's, confusing, but okay. 10.6.5.6 has no vowels in it. I don't know what you mean, because there is Yod, which is part of Ehevi, which are vowels, and there's Nikud there, which is also vowels. Now, some names of God are deliberately not associated with any vowels and are just pure letters and crowns. And that's because it's, again, a specific revelation that does not... Please lower, a bit lower. A bit lower.
Can I have oatmeal because he's having...
No, you can't have it because he's having. Because that's not a reason to eat something at 10 p.m. That's not a reason. But they got told to figure out the vowels by Satan. Basically keeps them busy and distracted. I still fail to see how the vowels would take away meaning of the letters and confuse Jews as to what the Torah means. Could you elaborate on how that's possible, how you see it manifesting? And I honestly don't know if you are aware of the ancient nature of the Masorah, of the Ba'alei Masorah, of the Jewish Orthodox tradition. The rabbinic tradition wasn't pulled out of someone's ass after the destruction of the Second Temple. The rabbinic tradition, there were others, yes, but the rabbinic tradition was there for a very long time. The difference is now it had to be written down. It had to be, Bloodnose says, Rick and Morty is a crazy good show, or was. So I haven't seen the 2 recent seasons, I think. I liked the first 3 very much. After that, I tuned out for a bit and saw an occasional episode. But, so I don't know if it's good or not, right, for my tastes. I know that at some point after the first few seasons, I tuned out. But I have watched an episode every now and then. And I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. Even if it's not, even if I didn't enjoy it the same, laugh out loud as much, it was still entertaining. I'll give it that. Those people are doing an amazing job as writers and animators and showrunners. It's really great. Agreed. Did it get axed? Oh, good question. Was Rick and Morty axed? Asked Sneezer.
What's axe?
Axed means that they took an axe to it and they took it off the air. A figurative axe, a metaphorical axe. It's not real. An imaginative axe. I don't know if I'd do cocaine either. No, I don't think I'll ever do that. I'm even scared to do shrooms because I've heard that you can go crazy from taking 2 grams of them. And I have a very active mind. Well, BMXers, not everybody is meant to take psychedelic substances. We are all meant to undergo psychedelic experiences. But not all of them ought to be substance-induced, and with some people, perhaps, it ought not be substance-induced. Literally, not even a memory anymore, said Sneezer. To keep them busy and distracted. Literally, not even a memory anymore. Okay. Brian Gillies says, I won't lie, the whole Zionist thing is bothering me, shaking my head. Brian, what about it? Is it the fact that Zionism... Well, first, how do you define Zionism? And are you referring to those who are anti-Zionists? Are you referring to the fact that Zionism equals racism in the eyes of certain people and to some degree the UN, if I'm not mistaken? Definitely shaking my head as well over here, maybe for different reasons. Even Sodom is a memory, so that tells you how bad them building a 3rd evil temple is. Even Sodom is a memory, so that tells you how bad them building a 3rd evil temple is. Okay, well, you'd call it evil, if you say so. Robert says, I heard a Hasidic say, well, it would be a Hasid. I heard a Hasidic say, they wish Christians to bring back Rabbi Nachman's bones to Israel to see if the Messiah has came or is still coming. Well, again, since Rabbi Nachman died and he's buried in Uman in the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken.
Ukraine?
In the Ukraine. That's where he's buried.
Nachman?
Correct. He was in Breslev, and then he moved to Uman, close to his time of death, and there he died.
Is there more ideas? Look.
I don't think so, but look before you open up another one. So if he indeed was Messiah, and if he was anointed, when he died, he's no longer the Messiah, and someone else has that yoke, that burden to carry. And if they say, I'm assuming it was a Breslev Chassid who said that Ukraine the Breslev Hasidic sect is in touch with the government and the authorities in the Ukraine to bring back Rabbi Nachman's bones and to Israel. If I'm not mistaken, it's Ukraine. Correct me if I'm wrong, good people. Now, as for the Messiah, that has nothing to do with Messiah. He is dead, ergo he cannot be Messiah. That's that, as far as I'm concerned. Splash Fuzz says, ask a question to him then. A good idea, jolly good. I'm scared to trip out, if that makes sense. Yeah, look, set and setting. That is what makes a psychedelic trip which is substance-induced. And to some degree, even one that isn't substance-induced, to a great degree. Maybe it's one and the same. Yes, it's definitely one and the same. So, yes, if you're scared, there's some amount of scared that you ought to be. Because to reveal your mind to yourself in a different way, it can be scary. Exhilarating, but scary. And so you need to be scared like that, in a way of an explorer going out on an adventure. On the way, where you're going to walk into uncharted waters. Nobody has ever had something like that before, ever, and no one will, and no one will since. That trip is unique to you, much like all of your life is unique to you, through your own consciousness. And I think then that if you are afraid and you say you have an active mind, you can go crazy. I don't know what to say to any of that. I encourage people to do it in the right time and place. That's what I have to say about mushrooms. Brian Gilly, I'm sorry. Arfan Jut Saab gave the thumbs down, the Israeli flag, the United States flag, and a boot. Okay, and another thumb, Israeli flags, American flags, boots. Israeli flags, American flags, sad face, boots. Heart. Oh no, that's not a heart. That's another boot. Okay, so Arfan Jut Sab. Say something. You have a platform. I won't block you. I won't censor you. Speak if you're still here in the chat. What is it you have to say? Dying to hear it. Brian Gilly says, I don't want to offend. You will not offend me. Go right ahead. There's very little that offends me, by and large. So, hit me. Did our brother BMXers try hummus? Robert asks, a good question, Senor Harrison. Good question. Jesus said that to worship him was to worship God. Okay, once again, I can see it in the sense of when you follow my example. To worship is also to imitate. To worship is to admire. To worship is to fall at the feet of. And if he would have been saying, do as I do, and that would mean worshiping God, it would mean when you are like me, then you're a good person who follows God. And somebody who follows God worships God in his actions, in his ongoing conduct. So if he was not God, then how did Jesus make pigeons out of clay fly away? Because we, mankind, we were given dominion over all creation, and that includes all the spiritual beings. Right? We are masters of heaven and earth, at least until we come to the seat of the Most High God, as it were. And then we are still creation and not creator. But we are, human beings, the image of God, and as such, we have the capacity, not always are we endowed with the ability, right, but the capacity to develop ourselves to such a degree that we are able to control the different elements, something very pagan in nature, if you will, and to turn earth, clay, right, to turn earth into something that can fly away. Meaning that to take the element of wind, of spirit, of air, and to imbue it in earth, right? Avil and afar, or it's yes, that's what I'll say. So you don't have to be God. You need to channel that divine energy that we call, let's say, Adama or Afar and Avil. And those two actually do correspond to the male and female divine presence, where the male is earth, the feminine is earth, and the masculine is air. Taylor says, I don't think it does make sense for Jews to worship Jesus. Apostle Paul wrote much of the New Testament, and Paul's intended audience was Gentiles, not Jews. Yes, that is correct. There was a letter to the Hebrews. I don't know if he wrote it. But yes, I think it was with the non-Hebrews in mind, to be sure, when it was written. Sneezer, Bloodnote said to Sneezer, I don't think Rick and Morty was axed, but their main voice actor was fired because of domestic abuse, and it looks like it's devolving from there. Well, just because the voice actor changes doesn't necessarily mean that the writing quality suffers. I think that the original writer, I don't remember the name, I think one of the two original writers and showrunners is still there, if I'm not mistaken. If he's not there, then I don't know. Or if he's writing a lot less and it's the staff which is doing it, then I don't know. Arfan Jut Sab, in case we didn't get the memo, now there's a Palestinian flag and a thumbs up. Oh! Now I get it. Okay. Right. So yes. Strength, a flexed bicep, and a Palestinian flag. Yes. May the Palestinian people, the innocent ones, rise up. May the Gazans and the ones living in the West Bank, the Judea and Samaria, may they rise up and overthrow their extreme religious piece of shit terrorist, leaders. So Nezer says, how did he walk on water, turn water into wine, resurrect? How did you understand the world? How did he understand the world at such a young age? Because just the fact that he was young, look, the Ari, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, he died when he was 33. Rabbi Nachman died when he was 36, or the other way around, something like that, 36, 37. So from time to time, individuals come into the world that don't go through the standard ladder, right? They don't go up that ladder linearly, let's say. Not or maybe it is linear, but compared to other people around them, compared to their peers, their compatriots, the people of their generation, you can see that they are way above other people in terms of knowledge, study, action. And so those people, even when they are very young, many secrets are revealed to them. They have that kind of soul. They are those kind of people. And so they could do all that because it all has to do with the elements, and it all has to do with controlling the elements, with manipulating the elements, with mixing them together, so to speak, to channel certain divine revelations into the world here, right here in the funky, stanky world, right, of material good and evil, all the way from those spiritual roots, all the way from the tree of life. So as far as I'm concerned, it's obvious to me that a sage of his caliber, if he was the student of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Prachia of the Second Temple era, it means that yes, he could walk on water, he could turn water into wine easily, and he could resurrect easily. It doesn't mean they did it frivolous. It doesn't mean they were, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't frivolous, they weren't flippant, something like that. But they definitely could do that. Insofar as the Talmud speaks of it and so on, and Orthodox tradition, I'm not saying I was there and I saw it with my own eyes, but sages of that caliber knew how to control and master the elements, like the Avatar. How did he realize Lazarus if not through God? Raise Lazarus if not through God? Well, I think I just answered that. It was through God, but it was God working through him, a divine revelation, not that I'm God incarnate. It says that 3 keys, it says in the Midrash, I think, or maybe the Talmud, 3 keys were not given to mankind. The key of life, the key of death, and the key of rain, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it birth? It's the key of birth, death, and rain. If I'm not mistaken, those are the 3 keys. And while these were not given to mankind, and I'm looking at it like really just at face value what it means. While these were not given to mankind, individually, at certain times, for certain purposes, one of the 3 keys was given to an individual, right? To be able to have other people and to cause them to give birth, things to do with birth, things to do with death, things to do with rain, or the stoppage thereof. So yeah, birth, death, and rain. Think of it that way. So our sages at different points, and people who are worthy, like Thor's hammer, people who are worthy for that, to channel those divine revelations, if there is a need, they will walk on water. If there is a need, they will turn water into wine. If there is a need, they will resurrect. They will make, those who cannot give birth and their uterus is defective, they will get pregnant. Or Eliyahu and the rain. Chonia Me'agel in the rain. Taylor says to Sneezer, God gives certain things to certain people. There has to be division between the nations. I concur. Maurice Toole says 100%. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but yeah. Sneezer says, as long as there are foreign languages, there will be misunderstanding between the different religions. Good call. Very good call. Sneezer continues and says Sneezer says to Taylor, responding, I'm assuming there need not be nations which are divisive. Yes, right now we are that, right? Much like we are Israelites and nations, right? Israel and nations. But the 70 root nations were, right? They split up. First it was just us and Eden, nature, God, that whole thing. So going back to the root, like all the way down and back up to the root. Punk rock, says Bradley Sharp. So I got into punk rock with Green Day in the 90s, with Dookie, with Nimrod, with, not Nimrod, well, Nimrod too, with Insomniac. And then I discovered their original music, right? Kerplunk, I think, retroactively. I don't know if I've ever listened to the whole thing, incidentally, but I really loved Green Day. The Offspring had a few good things. Obviously, the 70s, the 80s rather, had that first punk rock and right that whole straight edge thing. Or is that the 70s? I don't recall. Right, the real counterculture. So I don't know much about punk rock, but I do like what I've listened to. I do enjoy it. be it, post-punk or, or now. Have you not noticed, says Sneezer to Taylor, how many of other languages now interspeak? Have you not noticed how many of other languages now interspeak? By interspeak, you mean they use other language in their everyday dialect, in their everyday parlance, in their everyday language? Bradley says, free Palestine from Hamas. Indeed. Indeed. Colton Miller says, what's up, people? Oh, whoops, what happened here? Oh, come on. I did it again. Wow, a lot of chat going on here. Okay, here we are. Sorry, I got back where we were. Punk rock, free Palestine. What's up, people? Said Colton. Stay positive. Much love. Toda, toda, toda. Thank you. Thank you. Much love. Right on. Bradley says, I feel so bad for those people under that regime. I do too, because you know what? They're not all terrorists. There are some, I don't know the percentages, but there are some truly innocent people there. And brainwashed or not, you can argue, people brainwashed on both sides. But I feel bad for people under that regime as well. BMXer says, nope, they have an actual tree called the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil, and so many others come to mind. They have an actual Tree of Life. Well, I know that the argan tree is called the Tree of Life in Morocco, and there are different interpretations. Well, all right. Hey, staying off the grid is back! He wants me to oil up, twerk, do gay stuff. I remember. But I'm already taken, sir. I am spoken for. I will not break the covenant with my wife, even though you are highly attractive, and even though I have considered it, I must say no, good sir. Good night.
It's like, nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah, nah, bro, I'm good. That's right. That'll be a no from me, dog. Cool shirt. Thank you. My wife, right? You bought it for me?
I buy everything.
Yes, she buys me everything. Correct. We love you, says Robert Harrison. Namaste. Or rather, right? The literal translation is I bow before you of namaste, right? Not in a hello, goodbye. I mean, literally. BMXer says to Robert, I will, yeah, willing, end of this month. Good. Are you going to live stream you eating hummus? I mean it. I'd watch it. Don't do it immediately, right? So we'll get a notification. Who in the chat wants to see, without his face, just him eating hummus and eyeing or vomiting, like I said, who wants to listen to and view BMXers with dreadlocks eat hummus for the first time? Say your piece in the chat. That nose, yes, the schnoz, 'tis me. I'd kick that nose out. Well, I'll tell you. Maybe you could, but I would try and do some damage before you got to my schnoz. And seeing as how you would have to be here for that to happen, and I know this house a little bit better than you, I would have an advantage over you, just like Home Alone. I'm your Kevin.
Did I come down on the glass?
Pardon me? What is it? What about it? Ignore the trolls. Robert, you know better than that. I can't ignore the trolls. I need to feed them. Arfan Jut is not speaking. Heaven forbid he should speak. He's not even saying things in Arabic and translating them in Google Translate, because if there was a language barrier, I would understand. But with Google Translate and other translating services, the language barrier is nigh non-existent. And so now it really is just trollism. Arfan, sorry, use a troll. So, unfortunately, because you have absolutely nothing to say, or maybe you do, maybe I simply haven't gotten to that place in the chat. If you have spoken, forgive me, I retract it. Sneezer says, Jesus said, the Father has given all judgment to the Son, and do not think that I will accuse. There is one who accusers Moses. Basically, Jesus called Moses Satan. Well, that's not a very Hebrew way of looking at the father of the prophets. However, if that's according to the New Testament what Jesus said, good for him. BMXer says, oh no, I meant mechanical bicycle problems. Oh, I see. Should have clarified, my bad. I see. Well, I hope you're able to fix them. So you'll be on your way again, cycling to a better you. Sneezer said they are doing the work of their father Moses, the accuser, because they were accusing Jesus. Right, that's what I figured in my mind. It could be that they are acting that way. Which is to miss the mark or sin. Because we are not supposed to accuse each other, but accept each other in love. Yes, we are supposed to accept each other in love, says Orthodox Judaism, Rabbinic Judaism, until something needs to be done technically, legally, right? You need to have a judicial, if that's the term, organization. You must have that according to Torah. Right, and it's judges and it's prophets and it's the elders, right? The 100 and 1,000, Sarei Me'ah, Sarei Alafim. Because we are not supposed to accuse each other but accept each other in love, I'm agreeing. I think we are supposed to, but under certain circumstances. That's when you have accusers and an accused, and that's called court. The high court, the lower courts, right? We have a court of law, a Hebrew court of law. Because the work of the Father God is to love. I agree primarily, right? Look, you say the Father. Father, let's say, Father is... no, I won't go with that. I'll go with the just direct. Father, there's me. I'm a father. I'm loving. I'm also judgmental. And I'm loving even when I'm judgmental. In that very same way, this is how the Sanhedrin, the high court and the lower courts, the Hebrew courts, and halacha, right, and din, the Sanhedrin, they represented, in essence, practically speaking, that judgment, because that's what they were there to do. So they were physically revealing, manifesting the attribute of God we call judgment, din, gvura, the left hand. They were doing it through Lishkat HaGazit, through the Sanhedrin. In the Sanhedrin, the Zkenim are also represented in the divine feminine presence known as Malchut. They're both female, the left hand, or feminine, the left hand and the 10th Sphira. That's how I see it. It's loving judgment, which is how it can be both. But since they took on the father of Moses instead of loving God, they accuse. It's also why Jesus said, call no man on earth your father. Okay. I understand what he's saying here. I understand what you are telling me. I don't exactly agree, but it may have been what he meant when he said what he said. Bloodnose says, love to all except the Satan Judases among us. Do they not deserve love? Who's to say? Among us. Yeah, the Satan Judases, the betrayers, maybe they don't deserve love because, fool me once, shame on me. You know what I mean? Fool me once, shame on you, rather. Sneezer says it's also why... Oh, yeah, I read that. Daniel Hurwitz, where's the tuna? Is he here? He's not here right now. Bloodnose... Sneezer says to Bloodnose, pray for Satan too. Satan is actually ego, and to pray for Satan is to pray for yourself. Right? The adversarial side of you that wants you to overcome the adversity and to prevail and to develop and advance. That happens through adversity. That happens through you digging deeper and pulling out strength beyond strength. Like a muscle. Bloodnose says, I will take that into consideration, Sneezer, my friend. Ezra, hi Ezra, good to see you. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. Ahava achat, lev echad, bo'u nitkanes v'nargish beseder. Amen. Sneezer says to Bloodnose, wonderful. As I understand it, the tale of eternity is to teach Satan unconditional love. I am KKH. You've also, I think, been here before, and you say, Jesus Christ is Lord. Repent. The kingdom of God is near. You don't need to do this or be that. He loves you and is coming back. This is witchcraft. Repent. I'm pretty sure that the Hebrew faith does not condone witchcraft, and so I don't think that's what I'm engaging in. Nevertheless, I would like to repent. The kingdom of God is near, and we read it today in the Haftarah of Tisha B'Av, of the day of fast, of the day of mourning. I agree, I don't need to do this or be that. I need to do my thing and be myself. That's it. He loves you. That's nice. Much love back. Send him love back. And is coming back. If you say so, that's where we disagree. And on the witchcraft thing. But repent. Yes, to repent. Fret not, said Sneezer to IMKKH. Jesus is within every other now. They need just become aware. Jesus said, continues Sneezer, to call none but God good. Why do you call me good? Call none but God is good. Bloodnose said to Sneezer, I'm at the point where I think we can only go forward with the elimination of some beings, but only a higher power can do this. And Sneezer agrees. And they have not yet. Means they are not yet needed. Right, it's still on us. Bloodnose says, at 10 to 10, and it's now 30 minutes later. You know what? I think I'm going to go soon. It's been an hour and 20 minutes, and I love what I'm doing here. I may go soon. Bloodnose says, Bangladesh is going through some serious Hindu and Muslim tension. India has been increasing Hindu rule. Sneezer says, yes, I think Mary called Jesus rabbi right after she recognizes him reborn. Sneezer says to Bloodnose, yep, my buddy got hit by an IED during a visit. Hard PSTD now. An IED? An improvised explosive device. Mit'an Chabala, as they say. Wow. Hard PTSD for sure. I wish him well, man. I wish him well. Steeler says to BMX, nobody, the best weed is Canadian. Hey, we can argue about it till the cows come home. Bloodnose says, when the predator attacks the innocent in the world, you'll never forget. When the predator attacks the innocent in this world, you'll never forget. Sneezer says, of course it's confusing that you've been trying to add vowels in Yod He Vav He because it has not led you to the Vedic square, which contains Yod He Vav He. Oh, I see. So to confuse, you mean to misdirect. I see what you mean. Vedic being about 20K year before Hebrews. Okay, I see you. I understand. It's so confusing, even telling you what it means, you will disagree. Could be. But I do agree that there were civilizations and cultures and nations before Hebrews, right? Different, and before Evil, right? Before the one who we are named Hebrew for. So, Hebrew Screech from Saved by the Bell. Hebrew Screech. I'm Screech? I'm honored. I'd love to be Screech. Lord knows I'm no Zach. And wait, which Saved by the Bell? Because there's a new one probably, isn't it? Yeah, I think what you're talking about is a new one. Please tell me there isn't a new one. Is there a new Saved by the Bell? Hebrew Screech from Saved by the Bell. Well, even if it's the nostalgic one or the modern one, because there may stands to reason that there's a modern one. Thank you, I appreciate that. BMXer says, HN, the best weed found in Amsterdam, according to the FHM, once said come from South Africa, called Transkei snakeweed. Transkei is not far from where I live. 1 year. They called that 1 year. Okay. 10656, I don't know what you mean. So confusing you can't see it. Sorry, man. I don't know what you mean. I mean, Yod He Vav He, that would be 10565. It's 26, the Gematria. So I'm not sure, that's not 26. What you have there is 31. There are no vowels, thus adding them will always take away meaning. 10656 is such a well-hidden yet eternal place, it's hilarious. Well, once again, that's not the same thing. There is, let's put it this way, it would be Yod Vav He Vav. There is that combination of the Hebrew letters, and it does reveal a certain divine revelation in the world. But it's Yod He Vav He, which is Yod 10, hey 5, Vav 6, hey 5. Not 10656, but 565. That's the gematria. Though 10 will appear as 0, simple sum the digits at each point in the multiplication table. Well, you may think it's hilarious, but I'm thinking you might have the wrong gematria, or unless you're simply typing it out wrong, and you do mean 26. That includes churches and mosques, because the true temple is the human body, humanity. I agree. The original true temple is humanity. On that we agreed from the beginning. Ella, you smoke cannabis. Occasionally I do. Are you Hasid, HN? No, I'm not a Hasid. I think following anything but orthodoxy is a waste of time. So I grew up modern Orthodox in Jerusalem. I attended a yeshiva before the army with a Hasidic tint from 18 to 20, and then the army, and then another yeshiva with a Hasidic tint, not a Hasidic yeshiva, but a yeshiva with a Hasidic spirit. It was a national religious, modern Orthodox yeshiva with a strong Hasidic influence. So, I'm not a Hasid. I'm just a simple Nazir, right? I'm just a simple Hebrew man. So, no, but Hasidism has had an influence on me since I was 15, 16. And I followed modern orthodoxy and pretty strict halacha until my mid to late 20s, which is when I took on my vow and went my own way. Ain't nobody scared of y'all, says Evelyn Ivy. I'm not sure if you're referring to somebody who was promoting a Palestinian agenda or the Israeli agenda, but no, you should be scared of God. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Spasmatics. Hi, Spasmatics. How long do shrooms last? I've had some in a bag, like for a year. Are they still good? A, it depends on how you got them. Are they wet or are they dried? Second of all, have you inserted a moisture packet in wherever it is that you were storing them? B, are you storing them in a freezer? Are you storing them somewhere that's like a heat source? Is it in the fridge? Is it in a double bagged in aluminum in the drawer? Is it in a vacuum sealed bag, which was vacuum sealed and unopened? So many considerations. But if you keep them properly, they can last for years. If they're dried and if moisture is not getting in there, they could stay around for a very long time. Nope, we are all very thick-skinned here. Yep, pretty much. Paula says to BMX, and why should we not be? This is all zeros and ones. That's all it is. I'm using these zeros and ones, to my advantage, but and it's all sound waves and right, audio and video signals. So what's there to be scared of? Somebody on the other side of the keyboard? The hell do I care? BMX, or did you mean... Well, I'm assuming you meant here in the chat anyway. We are all very thick-skinned here. BMXer says, another hilarious episode of Seinfeld is the cigar store Indian. Yeah. Kramer buys it, and then he gives it to Peterman, I think, right? HN, said Sneezer. Jesus did mean it more as doing as I do. That's worshiping him, well understood. Yeah, that's what I would think of originally without anything to do with divinity. But yes, the connection to the divine is definitely embedded there. Try watching The Briss, says Robert to BMXers. Like a dog, like a mongrel, like an animal. So good. Ugh. Sneezer says, is it what? So then, can you make something of clay fly away? I cannot. If I studied enough regarding the spiritual nature of the elements and learned how to manipulate them, yes, I could. We are co-creators, says Evelyn. Yes, I agree. There's a co-creation element to humanity. There is separation between creator and creation, but we are the creation, which is supposed to be a co-creator. Sneezer says Jesus was so above human, it's not funny. By coming to life first. Jesus was so above human, it's not funny. Again, very well could be, but I'm not following him. Is there an episode called The Briss? Yes, there is. I gotta find a moil. Isn't Seinfeld secular? Yes, but many secular Jews still circumcise their male newborns. Spasmatic said, I thought we were talking about psychedelics. How the hell do we get on God? Well, psychedelic is mind revealing or mind expanding, and the revelation of God is that as well. So it's kind of one and the same, it's just different ways of attaining that same space. Sanizar said, but Jesus told his disciples to preach in Jerusalem first. He continues and says to Spaz, God gave us psychedelics to open our minds. I agree. Many things were given, and those were part of them. BMXer says, I've never seen anything religious in the Seinfeld show thus far. Seinfeld episode called The Pig Man, says Robert. Sneezer said, no, Seinfeld was a self-hating Jew. He is hardly a self-hating Jew, but he's not religious, that's true. Seinfeld is living a good life while the others of his community is doing the work. Well, he did a lot of work. I don't know if, others in his community? Which community? Where? New York, LA? Where is he now? I don't even know. Spasmatics, there is no hell, says BMXers. He gives a thumbs up to Robert, getting sleepy. Go to sleep, BMXers. This is 25 minutes after you wrote that in the chat. I hope you're asleep by now. Yes, and they are all avatars of God. Okay, I hear you. So are you, but you seem woefully unaware. Yes, I am woefully unaware of many things, of most things in life. I'm ignorant, sometimes through choice, sometimes through I haven't been convinced, and sometimes because I just don't even know that which I do not know yet. Who is Ben Gvir, and what is the significance of his visit to the Temple Mount? Ben Gvir is, I think, the Minister of the Interior. Is he? I think so. The Minister of the Security of the Interior. And the significance of his visit is that he was visiting the Temple Mount on the day of the destruction of the temples. That's the significance. I think, from what I saw in the news, and this might not have happened, or I don't know what, but that there were people praying there, which is not allowed according to the religious regulations of the Muslim Jordanian Waqf. So, Ben Gvir is a politician and a member of Knesset and a member of government, pretty high up. I don't think he's a member of the closed war cabinet, and the significance is the fact that he went there on the day of the destructions of the temples. Ella says, Ella, by the way, is goddess in Hebrew, and Elah, which is a tree. I don't forget what its name is in English. The nature of reality is light, so learn how to raise your own light by having good character. Religion doesn't matter so much. What comes out of your heart matters more. Yes, out of your heart and into your actions, out of your heart and into your mouth. So it won't be you contradicting yourself and living too much of a hypocritical life. We all have persona. We all have our things we reveal and don't reveal. And there's that which is in your heart, which should also be in your mouth, ideally. And the inside and your external and internal being should match. Ella, yes, actually that was said to me, LOL. Ezra says, 3 keys, the Holy One, blessed be He. Livriut. Oh, good, the 3 keys. Good, perfect. 3 keys, the Holy One, blessed be He, has retained in His own hands and not entrusted to the hand of any messenger, namely the key of rain, the key of childbirth, and the key of revival of the dead. Ta'anit. So it was the Babylonian Talmud. Masechet Ta'anit has a ton of those. So yes, thank you, Ezra. I appreciate it. So yeah, I was right about the 3 keys. Cool. All right. Wow, there's so much more in the chat. But I'm going to say, oh wow, I didn't even get to read any of the comments I wanted to read from Sunday. Oh, I did read a few, but there are more from Sunday, which I didn't read. And there are more comments that came in today, which I sort of glanced at. One which I definitely want to read. And a couple from over Shabbos, over the weekend, which I haven't gotten to read yet. There's so much more to look forward to, but I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you all for being here. My God, I don't take it for granted. You could be doing so many other things right now, but you're here with me. I deeply appreciate it. I hope it's worth your time. I try to make it worth your while. I hope I gave even a tiny bit of value, maybe, in this back and forth here. It's truly a blessing to just hit live every night and have these wonderful conversations with you. Thanks for the likes, the subs, the engagement, those watching now, those watching later. I appreciate each and every view. And God willing, Yah willing, see you, I think tomorrow is Wednesday. God willing. Wait, no. Yes, Wednesday. 9 p.m. Jerusalem time. See you then. Until then, peace, love, God bless.